Absolutely, so you need that. Now, the performance variant of the X5 is powered by a 4.4-litre V8. It produces 625 PS of max power and 750 Newton meters of torque, and it comes with a host of new additions. Now, I'm sure you're itching to find out whether these host of new additions transform the X5 in a big way. Well, it's time to find out.
This grille, it's the stuff of nightmares. It's one of the most ridiculous design elements I've ever seen on a BMW. It's the kind of stuff even Chris Bangle couldn't have ever imagined. But then again, we've seen this before on the X5. The chrome surrounds, of course, there just amplify the ugliness. Here, however, the black surround, well, just mutes it, because this is the X5M, BMW's flagship sports activity vehicle. And this is probably one of the most powerful SUVs BMW has ever produced. And I'm here in Arizona to drive it. So the X5M, which I'm driving, now the X5M competition I'm driving. Now this version, of course, comes with 625 horsepower. But the X5M, which BMW will be launching in India, that will have 600 horsepower with 750 Newton meters of torque. That's a massively powerful engine. It's capable of doing a 0 to 100 in just 3.9 seconds. That is incredibly quick for an SUV of this size. You can definitely bring a smile on your face. This X5M engine, well, it's got the same twin turbocharging system like the previous engines as well, and of course they work in multiple stages with a variable geometry turbocharger. So power is delivered quickly, but is delivered consistently throughout the rev band. Transmission is an 8-speed automatic, and that's what's going to be offered in India as well. There's a very interesting trick that it's got. Of course, the X5M comes with a configurable shift time button. Effectively, on the gear shift lever, you've got a tiny button right below over here, which you can use to adjust the shift times. You want it to be quicker, you want it to be slower. You can do that just by, well, going up or down, and it considerably changes the way this car shifts through the gears. How fast can these cars go? Well, 250 kilometers an hour, well, that's what most German cars are restricted to. So that is, of course, the limit that the X5M can achieve. Keep in mind, BMW has made, or rather developed, this car for a lot of use on racetracks as well. The press release, in fact, says that something like this, something as large as the X5M, is very easy to use on circuits like even the Nordschleife, Nürburgring. Like most M cars, BMW offers an M function in this car, which allows you to select a variety of driving modes, all tuned for high performance. And now you can also save those modes using these two buttons right here on the steering wheel. There's M1 and M2, and these buttons essentially allow you to sort of bookmark a driving program. So once you've selected all of your choices, the way you want your engine to perform, the way you want your transmission to perform, you can save that function, you can save that choice just by clicking down on the M1 button for some time. It saves that program, and then you can select a second one as well, which is using the M2 program. That's pretty fantastic. So whenever you're out on the track, all you need to do is just press M1. It engages that sport mode or that performance mode, or if you want, a secondary mode, which is applied by just pressing down the M2 button. But keep in mind, BMWs aren't just known for the performance from that engine. There's also that chassis, that suspension setup, and the M series, of course, which are the epitome of performance cars, especially under the BMW range. Now, these come with some of the state-of-the-art technologies that you could find in sports sedans, or for that matter, sports SUVs. This one, well, the chassis is much stiffer than the standard X5. It's been tuned, enhanced to handle, or rather offer, better dynamics. Along with that is the suspension. This is a completely electronically controlled suspension. It's an active suspension. So the dampers are electronically controlled. You've got a host of driving modes which you can select on the touchscreen right here. But they go from comfort to sport mode to a normal mode as well. Of course, in sport mode, it gets a lot stiffer. The X5M drives on 21-inch tires in the front and 22 at the rear, and these are with very, very low profile tires. So the ride quality is, in any case, pretty stiff. Here in Arizona, driving the X5M, it actually feels dwarfed by some of the large pickup trucks. The Silverados, the F-150s, the Dodge Rams. It actually feels small compared to those big, large pickup trucks and SUVs. But make no mistake, the X5M is a large car. And while maneuvering this through a country like India, back home, this is going to be a bit tricky. You have to carefully manage the power first of all, because it just comes in an instant. And then you've got this proportion. There's an enormous footprint that the X5M occupies. So you just have to be careful in the by-lanes and smaller roads around India. Am I enjoying it? Yes, here in Arizona the roads are wide open, they're huge, they're large. And I'm trying hard not to ignore the speed limits. But you know what they say, when the cat's away, the mice are at play. There's just an enormous amount of electronics that the X5M packs in. You can adjust the engine responses, you can adjust transmission responses, you can adjust the suspension, you can even adjust the braking. There are two stages for braking in this car. One that comes on instantly, very, very sharp. The other one, of course, is a little more gradual. Don't mistake it. It's got 390mm discs at the front with a 6-spot caliper attached to it and 380mm discs at the rear. These are huge brakes, they're massive brakes, and they definitely get the stopping power on very, very quickly. But even there is room for adjustment. BMW offers that as well. There isn't an inch of this car that hasn't been touched with some electronic implement or the other. There's just so much inside this car. I mean, it will take a few days just to read through the manual and understand all that the X5M is capable of doing. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not a big fan of the way the X5M looks on the outside. It's actually one of the worst designs, like I said again earlier, it's one of the worst designs that I've seen on the outside of a BMW. But then you step into this cabin and your entire opinion of what BMW is capable of doing in terms of design and styling changes. This is a fantastically laid out cabin. There are a lot of buttons, a lot of dials and knobs that you can fiddle around with. But everything is placed intuitively. Everything is right where it should be, everything works the way it should, and all of it just looks very impressive inside this. You've got carbon finish on the dashboard, on the door panels. You've got a Bars & Wilkins audio system that looks great on the side panels out there. You've got this large floating screen right here for the infotainment systems. There's a lot of aluminium elements that are there on the dashboard as well. All of it comes together to give this fantastically sporty cabin. Where do I expect BMW to price this car in India? Well, I think this is easily going to be upward of $1.5 crore, if not thereabouts, which makes it pretty expensive. But keep in mind, there isn't anything like this on offer in India today. Nothing in the SUV space that comes to my mind comes anywhere close to the X5M. This is a sports car on stilts. This is a sports SUV on steroids. And it's definitely something you'd remember for a very long time.
Well, it's not long now till the BMW X5M competition comes down to India. In fact, you just have to wait 6 more months till it makes it on our shows. Time